true art believers, and welcome to today's live art stream. This is Pierson here. I am the #1 live art streamer in the world, and you are watching day 203 of, was it 300 days of drawing? Anyhow, today is clouds. We're going to talk about clouds today, and kind of cheating. I'm doing a little bit of cheating on these clouds today. So I'm going to talk through it, and I'm going to kind of guide you through my process. Hopefully I'm going to guide you through my process. Let's begin. Where is it? Where is it? There. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's live art stream. So we're going to do something a little bit different here. This is going to be very new to me, so just kind of bear with me. This is I'm going to be doing kind of like a tutorial slash basically continuing my live art streams. And I have technically been doing tutorials since the get-go. So let me set up my time lapse here, kind of back the little, let's back this thing up here. Got this camera here. We'll hit the time lapse here. Boom. It's going to go. So what you want to do, what I'm going to do today is we're going to press G to basically get a bluish background. I'm thinking I'm going to do a blue black background kind of like this, right? I want to do a few things. I'm going to zoom out here. I'm going to zoom out. So we're going to have a bluish background like this. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to, using a regular like airbrush, as soon as I find it, a regular airbrush, we're going to go from light to dark, and we're just going to make the brush really bright, like wide like this, zoomed out. Yeah, there we go. So I can make broader brush strokes. And we're just going to go and we're going to make it darker up top. As a matter of fact, I want it like kind of like that. And then we're just going to get lighter. And I have this idea of being really light up on the bottom here, and then really dark on the top. There we go. So I want something like that as my base. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to, I have this idea of doing like this dark base for this landscape. And so I'm just going to get like use this like brush here. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to try to zoom in. There we go. And we're going to basically just add this little right here. And it's just going to be like, it's going to imply like a landscape type of feel to it. Yeah, so I'm using this this brush that's Kyle's Real Oils Landscape. And so I'm just kind of doing that. And now I'm basically making a vantage point that feels very far. So that's what I'm going to do with just the background. The next thing is I'm going to work with the clouds. Now, I'm cheating. I'm doing a little bit of cheating here. So we're going to see how it goes. What I'm going to do is, I think, yeah, we're going to kind of make 3 tiers of clouds here. And I'm using this special set of clouds called Kyle's Concept Brushes, and they're called like clouds. Clouds chunky, clouds fat. I want to use fat, see what that looks like. Okay, we're going to use some fat clouds here. And I have this idea of like doing, like, I want to make like very dark clouds up top. You know, very ominous clouds. And this brush is just amazing. I was playing around with it earlier, And, I'm just kind of feathering it on there, creating this like dark, ominous feel to it. What I thought it reminded me of, like painting with, like, if I was to paint with cotton balls or something. So I'm just using a brush that has a very feathery, like soft effect to it. And I'm doing a lot of color testing in the surrounding clouds areas right here. So you can see I'm kind of making these like stormy clouds here. What I think I want to do is I'm going to drag down these dark clouds a little bit more. I want to make them feel like they're creating a tornado, or going to make like it's about to rain or something. Maybe make it even darker up here. Even darker. Yeah, we're making it even darker up top using these very special clouds. I love this. That's why I thought I was saying it was like cheating almost, because I'm basically just using this brush that kind of does like 80% of the work, and I'm just kind of manipulating it. Of course there's a little bit more effort happening to it, but this Kyle's like concept brushes series or whatever it's on Photoshop, it's just very effective on creating like these textures here. So all you're doing is going from dark to light. So I'm pretending that the clouds are getting darker and darker as they go up, and then they're getting lighter and lighter as they go down. Meanwhile, I'm pressing very gently with the stylus, and kind of the way that this brush is set up, it kind of like blends, and it also applies more pigment. So it's also kind of like a wet on wet painting palette brush. So that's what I kind of like about it, right? Okay, so I think I got a little bit more color here. All right, so I'm just add some color here because it's getting dark, right? And I had this idea. As I was playing around with these clouds, I had this idea. I want to see how it works. See how well it works. I'm going to do a different layer. Um, I wanted to have like one little cloud, just kind of like here, it's hanging out, doing its thing, just doing its thing, and basically what I'm doing now is I am making a like cast shadow, make it a little bit dark on the bottom, and then I'm gonna make it a little bit brighter on the top. I'm not being super defined with it. I think because I want to get used to this brush, and this is my first time using these brushes, or this brush in particular. So I don't want to get too like fancy with how I'm going about these clouds. So I'm just kind of playing around. I'm getting my feet in the pool here, and just playing around with the idea a little bit. And the way that it's working is it's working pretty well. The way, because if you press really hard, it applies more pigment. It's kind of like little puffs. So as you can see, just very gently, I'm creating this illusion of space and depth. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these colors, I'm going to make this a little larger. And now I'm just color testing, and I want to bring these colors from above and slowly bring them down. There we go. I want to slowly bring them down to this cloud here. Yeah, so I'm going to slowly bring them down. And the brighter clouds are on a separate layer. And I did that because I had this idea that I want to have like space. So if you can see, if I put clouds behind this, it feels like it's farther away. So if I bring this darker tone, these darker light clouds, kind of ominous clouds, kind of cascading down, I feel that if I do that and I show it behind the clouds, it's going to make it for a more dynamic feel. So I think what I want to do is create this feeling of like distance, and like you're in a field and you're just staring at a possible storm to occur, you know, just color testing. And I have to admit though, like as I was saying, this whole like this whole like oops, never mind. This whole like technique is almost all cloud, like all the brush. Like it's a brush a question. As long as you're like mindful of how you're blending your tones, it's really the brush is doing like 80% of the work. You're you're just kind of manipulating the pigment a little bit. And as long as you're not pressing too hard like this, you know, even though that still looks pretty good, it's like that. It's just a really good texture brush that I didn't expect that it would do this. That's why it feels like cheating almost to kind of create these clouds. Okay, so now I'm gonna go on this layer right here. We're gonna make another layer on top just in case. Make another layer, and we're gonna shrink it down, and we're gonna go a little bit micro. So we're gonna add some really bright clouds here. So what I'm doing is kind of separating the tones. So you have mid-tone, which is basically mostly this, dark tone, which is this, but not so much. I haven't really dealt with that, and then highlight, you know. So I'm adding some highlights here on these areas that I feel like the cloud's getting light, you know. So just adding a little bit of highlight using this. Again, this the brush is doing like 80% of the work. So don't think like, oh my gosh, you're really good at this. You know, the brush is really is kind of doing 80% of the work. I'm just kind of slowly adding pigment and being mindful of where I'm applying some of those tones. So I'm adding some dark tones underneath. A little bit dark tones here. And I'm just adding a little bit of dark tones. Like that. Maybe some right here. A little dark tone. Maybe I should add a little bit of like mid-tone here. A little bit of mid-tone. And then I'm gonna add some highlights. Just a little bit like a little bit. Just kind of show distance. So this one's really small, kind of gives that like a feeling that it's from far. And probably I should kind of blend it with the background a little bit. Maybe I should do a little bit more color testing on the background here. Maybe make this even brighter. So we're going to do even more highlights on this area. Yeah, so as you can see, it's just a very simple little thing. You know, I'm just making very soft clouds from a distance. Don't know if I like it. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. And as long as you're having fun, then you're doing a good job. All right. Now I want to go add another layer. And we're going to use, what kind of brush is this? Puffy. So I'm using a brush and kind of doing applying it in the background behind the land a little bit. Yeah, I think that's kind of nice. What kind of brush is this? Just looking at all these like brush settings that we have here. We have softy, wind sweep. What's a wind sweep look like? That's pretty cool. All right. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go and get out of here. I want to blend this. I want to blend. I'm going to use a blending brush. I'm going to blend the background a little bit. I'm going to try to blend it. I'm going to get the land out of the way. So I'm just going to use this blending brush. It's kind of like a mixing brush. You don't really see what's happening. It's just so subtle. I'm just kind of softening up all those tones here. So much so that it's lagging. Yeah. Softening it up. And then what I want to do is on top, I want to add a little bit of a color on the bottom. I think I want to add a little bit of color. Let's see. Am I still on mixing? Yeah, I am. I hate it when it does that. Okay, so now I got to find my brushes. Okay, so an airbrush. Ooh, no, no, no. That's, let's see here. We get the land here. I want to see what the land looks like. It's behind. So I want to add a little bit like more color on the bottom. And on the land here, I'm going to do something here. This is something I'm going to try out. Okay. Okay. So this is all very new to me. I'm experimenting and I'm just trying to see what will like what's a nice balance that I can kind of do. You know, what's a nice balance? What can I kind of, so right now I'm kind of adding these these like little tones here. Yeah, that could be misconstrued as like land masses or atmospheric depth. You know, it's kind of doing something like that. Just a really simple thing here. And just kind of zoom out here. Maybe we'll have, this will be kind of like a mountain peak. Maybe it'll be like a brighter up here. No, I don't like that. It feels weird. I'm not used to drawing landscapes, so like whenever I do something like that and make a mountain, I always feel like, why am I making a mountain? You know, that's so weird. All right, we'll take that out. I liked what was happening, but I don't like how I approached it. So, you know, if I can find another way to go about it, I think I might kind of do that. So I just want something kind of subtle. Zooming in right here. Yeah, just something like that. And I'll maybe leave it like that at the moment. What if I were to do something like where you zoom in? It's kind of like a dark. No, don't like that. So brand new experience for me. I'm trying to do new things here, and I imagine by the 100th one of these, I'll be pretty good at it. Now what? Okay. All right. So let's get back here. Now let's think. What do I want to do? I mean, I like it. I think there might need to be a little bit more contrast between. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on clouds again and zoom in and maybe test this, and we're going to make an area kind of darker. I don't like that cloud. I like this cloud. It goes on softer. All right. Hey there. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. All right. So, a few things that I'm learning is I need to learn how to manage my layers when I do these clouds, and I'm just playing around with the technique a little bit, and I think I'll get pretty decent near the end. I'm going to look up more tutorials, but I'm going to call it at 30 minutes. It's not 30 minutes yet, but we're getting close. It's a nice like ambient like cloud. They're nice clouds, but they're not great. Like they're just kind of fun. They're just like, oh. And I purposely did the clouds like this because I wanted them to be I wanted them to feel like there's this giant like atmosphere above. So I purposely put like a little bitty like landscape below it to kind of give it this like really far depth, you know? All right. I don't have much to say anymore. I had a bunch of struggles today with this, and I figured out I've learned a few things. I'm gonna kind of go back to the drawing board and what was working at the very beginning kind of stopped working later on. So I need to figure out how I'm gonna organize my layers. I have an idea, but I've done so many cactuses that I just don't know how many like layers I want to use for my clouds, like what's the right amount, like it's just the right amount of clouds I want to, or right amount of layers I want to use to kind of separate uh, the foreground, midground, and background, and so forth. And maybe I might have to do something as simple as that: separate the layers by foreground, midground, and background. I kind of started doing that. I had like the land in front, and then I had the clouds in the like the midground, and then I had the sky and the dark clouds in the background. So they're like farther away, you know. And this brush setting, this brush is kind of like, it's like using a cotton ball that you're just kind of patting on to the surface. So you're just kind of like, you're just applying a little bit of pressure as you're drawing, as you're kind of like painting the surface. And yeah, there's no like right or wrong way of doing it, especially because the way that this brush kind of works, it really it really kind of uh, reduces like errors, which is weird. I'm gonna add a little bit of like light clouds up here. I feel that they need some like light clouds. They're darker, right? They're darker and grayer, but I think I should add some cloud variety up here. You know, it's kind of like maybe there's a little bit of light coming through. Maybe that might be the case, right? I feel like when I do the cloud, do these dark clouds up top, I feel like it's like as if you're looking into outer space or something. Yeah, so this is it. 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna call it a day. And I'm just gonna fiddle around with the clouds, um, and then see what happens. At the very least, it was a kind of very fun experiment, and I'll be able to talk about it a little bit more in depth next time. Um, and I'm gonna break it down a little bit more thoroughly. I'm gonna have to write it down probably. Whoops, I was like drawing stuff. I didn't even know it. Again, like it's like 80% the brush, 20% me. Like Photoshop has these really nice brush sets called like, you can download them if you have Photoshop. You can download them. I just downloaded all of them, and one of them's I just searched clouds, and it came up with clouds concept brushes clouds, and has a variety of different like textures for clouds and all kinds of stuff. And basically it's just a brush that it makes fluffy textures. You know, it just makes fluffy textures, and that's really what clouds are, is just like fluffy little wisp of air. And if you know how to at least break them down like by value, and you know that the sky is darker as it goes higher up in the air, and you make the as the color as you get closer down to the ground, it gets lighter, and you apply those principles, you can come up with pretty decent clouds, especially if you have something like almost as like, I'm not going to say foolproof, but this cloud setting, these cloud brushes are very, very, very nice. I'm going to go a little bit more micro in these small areas with a some brighter tones just on the tops, very subtle. You're not even going to see most of them, and maybe put a little bit like right here. Nope, don't like that. Just looking a little bit right here, a little bit right here. Maybe on the opposite side, you get a little bit like wisps of like bright cloud. Have a little like a wisp of bright cloud right here. Yeah, so it's just a very This is a very, very simplistic approach to clouds, but it's pretty nice. Like they look pretty real. At least, and if I wasn't using this cloud setting, this cloud brushes, I would be using a soft airbrush, and I would not come with the same outcome because like the texture is different. Or maybe I would have to fiddle around with it to come out with the same outcome, and I don't have that kind of time. But anyways, I like this technique. It's going to be kind of fun to play around with clouds for the next 100 days and see where I come at the end of it. So I think what's going to happen is I'm going to keep pushing this landscape idea, and then I'm going to keep pushing this. Like I have this idea of making like it's dark and it's light on the bottom, but like dark ominous clouds on top. I had like these ideas of maybe like it's like you watching clouds and rain from a distance. You know, if you ever been in a place where you have a lot of fields. So this is my first cloud drawing. I'm not going to sign it. Yeah, I don't know where to sign it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this drawing. That is it for the day. I learned quite a bit, actually, so that was kind of nice. And that's my first cloud drawing. I'm going to do a little bit more, not on this drawing, but as time goes on, there's going to be better ones. So this is my first cloud drawing, and I will talk to you next time. This is Pierson. I am the #1 live art streamer in the world, and I hope you enjoyed clouds. All right. Have a wonderful day.